Play to the market. And get started.
She had me for like full time for the OD class. Anyway.
Okay. Well, hello, I'm Stephanie Maynard-Patrick at the University of Illinois Springfield. My contact info is smaynard2@uis.edu. Please feel free to contact me with any questions, comments, concerns. I'm happy to help, and thank you all for taking the time to come in and join us today.
There's a video.
All right, come on. Oh, no. Yeah, here we go.
Is it advancing on your screen?
No, that's why.
We'll go through that.
There we go. All right. Sorry, slight technical adjustments for our agenda today. We're going to be looking at how to innovate your human resource management functions, and particularly in the areas of training, employee benefits, how to use your community resources wisely, and we're going to talk about a few cautions that can happen while we're innovating that we need to look out for. So why should we innovate our training? Well, most of us have gotten into the habit of using sometimes the easiest resources. So an employee handbook, here, read this, an online lecture. I know even though you're watching me here doing this, there's better ways to do this. If we find ways to more deeply engage our learners, it'll lead to better knowledge retention, to better productivity. Research has shown that online and lecture training are not the most engaging. When people disengage and multitask, they don't spend time learning. Employee surveys have shown that most employees, about 61% from lecture or online training, don't feel motivated to do anything different. You're spending a lot of money to do online, to buy these packages for online training and things like that, but they're not working. However, over 80% of employees that were surveyed find that if they are in engaging training, they do feel more motivated to work and apply the knowledge that they gain from that training. So it helps both your firm to better invest its dollars, but it also helps our employees happier and more productive. My question was, for some of you online, what else are you doing right now while you're listening to this or watching this? Are you answering email? Are you typing up a memo, doing something else? That's an example of what we don't want our employees doing. We want them engaged in the material. So how can we cost effectively innovate your training? This may sound a little silly, but through the modification of everyday games is one quick and fantastic way to invest your training dollars wisely. So here are some examples. For one, Monopoly. An example could be helping your bookkeepers get used to the firm's forms and software. just by printing out some of the copies, having them play a few rounds of Monopoly, and documenting the transactions on those forms. It's fun, it's engaging, and it helps the employees start to know and understand and recognize things before they get into the software programs where mistakes have a much bigger repercussion. Games like Trivial Pursuit or Jeopardy are great for helping your employees stay up to date on laws and regulations, things that they have to memorize and remember. Puzzle games. So rather than when your employee is like, oh, I've just had such a frustrating meeting with clients or something like that, and they just need to step away, instead of going and having them play a game on their phone, you could provide them with things like crosswords or word searches that focus on some of the material that you may have recently trained on. So just simple printout worksheets left on employees' desks when they need a break. It's something that they can take away their time from, but you're still getting value for that time rather than somebody going and playing Angry Birds on their phone or whatever the games are now. Puzzle games just are really easy that way. If you're an organization that does sales, whether it's a restaurant and your servers are trying to upsell, or other corporate sales, you can use things like bingo, where you start to recognize and learn customers, you work on upselling and have greater customer engagement. Another option is a scavenger hunt. So if you are having a lot of sales drivers or delivery drivers, and they have very specific routes that you need them to hit, you can help them learn their routes by just having like a landmark scavenger hunt, saying, okay, you're going to, do you see a building with a dome? Do you see this mural on another building along your route? And just sort of having them see and mark off and get familiar with the routes as they interact in between customers. You can also do this on your website and your online content. So if you have an online employee handbook or a set of employee resources and you want them to go through it and find different things, you can set up a scavenger hunt where then the employees answer different questions and identify what they found. And you can give them, a small little certificate or small prize in order to, congratulate them for going through the material. It helps them engage. It helps them, more willingly participate with material that you want them to know. And all of these are things you can do in-house. There's nobody you have to hire or pay any fees for. So for organizations who are looking to do a little bit more, you may have heard of adventure or outdoor wilderness, team building, leadership training. And while it can be a very interesting way to bond and have employees, develop themselves, there's a number of risks to it. First of all, if somebody gets hurt, that's your workers' compensation claim that you're going to have to deal with. You may also have to compensate for overtime, the event fees, and so on and so forth. So my recommendation is save yourself a whole lot of money and instead do role-playing adventuring. You can use games that are out there, such as Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, or if your employees like another product line, there's a number of different role-playing games that you can choose from. And you can use this for a number of different skill sets. So you can train for leadership and how people in different roles may switch depending on the situation to help lead through whatever crisis the team is facing. You can do it for problem solving and creativity and just getting people's brains going. You can do it for team building, setting challenges for this team of adventurers going out to do whatever the game master sets up for them. And you can even do it for diversity and inclusion training, in the fact that the people who are going to be role playing may be asked to role play as something else. So instead of me being a white woman, I may be a dark-skinned elf male. So I can understand their perspective and the challenges that they may face. So there's a number of different tools that this adventuring training can be used for. It can also allow you to start to see more about your employees and allow you to identify who may have potential for greater leadership roles versus what they just do in your job. You may be surprised that your accountant has some really great customer service and negotiation skills. So maybe that person should be in charge of correcting accounts. If there's an issue there, that person who has great interpersonal skills that you didn't know about, that may be an opportunity for them to advance and to even lead that department as your organization grows. This is very cost effective. You can hire a game master online or go talk to your local game store. You could probably for about $100 for your weekly session for all your employees. That's a lot less expensive than this wilderness training would ever be. And it's much safer. We don't have any injuries going on. It's also a great thing to do to get employees to want to come into work. So I know we've had, with COVID, a lot of employees working at home, and now they're not necessarily as interested in coming into work. But if you have game day, you can say, hey, we have this going on. Everybody here at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. Use those times that people are, we're tired coming back from lunch. Use this time to help energize and invigorate them so that after an hour or two of playing a game, they can go back to work for 2-3 hours, finish up the day, energized and ready to use these new skills and contribute. Now to shift to innovate our compensation and benefits costs, particularly our benefits cost. Health insurance, dental insurance, etc., is one of the largest costs that your organization is going to face. And as you grow from a small organization to a larger organization, insurance is something most likely you're going to want or need to offer in order to attract employees. So one of the ways you can reduce your cost is to join a consortium for insurance and benefits. You have greater purchasing power then, as this pool of organizations that comprise the consortium increases the employee numbers and then can negotiate better with the insurance broker. In addition, having healthier employees reduces your insurance costs. So it does make dollars and cents to keep in mind your employee wellness. There are a number of ways we can do this. We can pay them to work out. So one of the things companies in Japan have been doing for 30, 40 years is employees come to work in their first 30 minutes of their shift. They do gentle stretching and exercise and get ready for their day to manufacture whatever electronics vehicles that they're doing. It helps prevent injuries. So we're reducing our workers' comp insurance, but then it also helps prevent long-term injuries because the body's loosened up and ready to go. And so it can be great as well for lowering, at least in the United States, people's blood pressure, BMI, etc. And when you look at it, if minimum wage is getting to be, or going rate wage is getting to be $15 an hour, as I've seen all over signs everywhere, from McDonald's to the banks and whatnot, just paying your employees to work out with the other employees would cost about $150 a month. When insurance costs rise several thousands of dollars every year based upon what your employees are using for their insurance, keeping them a little healthier, maybe everybody's not getting blood pressure medication claims, and so on and so forth, those savings add up. And so it can help you keep your insurance claims lower. And then you probably don't need to offer benefits like gym memberships, which research has shown most employees don't take up on. Other things we can do is help them eat better. Work out discount arrangements with local restaurants, food trucks, even the farmers market. So if you're in downtown Springfield, the farmers market is on Wednesdays, and there's a number of food trucks and restaurants all nearby struggling because of COVID and people from working at home. You are in a prime position to go and talk to them and say, I have these employees that are coming here every day. I'd like to recommend your restaurant to them, but can you make something healthy? And can you give us a 15% discount? And with a guaranteed commitment to have a certain amount of business, these different restaurants or food trucks are going to be more willing to work with you and to give you those discounts and support, because then you're helping them have a guaranteed revenue stream, which we all know is really important in the food business, where our margins are really tight, at 2 to 3% profit. Other things you can do is partner with medical facilities, your insurance provider, your broker for on-site health checks. So not everybody likes to go to the doctor, but if you can have, say, partner with SIU and some of the student nurses and doctors come into your facility once a quarter and do blood pressure checks, glucose checks, just basic health checks, it can help your employees realize where they are in their health journey and if they need to start taking greater steps in order to monitor their health and improve their health. Because if you get somebody like my dad who, oh no, I'm fine, he doesn't like to go to the doctor until he has his heart attack, and then you find out everything that's going wrong, and it's a lot to play catch up on. If we keep our employees on track and monitoring their health, then we don't have such big surprises and have potentially large insurance claims. So had my dad known he had heart disease, he could have been taking medication to prevent a 2-week hospital stay, rehabilitation, surgery, and so forth.
Also takes the burden off the employee from making the appointments during their work day and make, just more likely.
Exactly. Convenience is one of those things that we'll talk about next in how to make employees more appreciative of the benefits and to make our benefits more valuable. So we want the ones that employees feel that they need the most. So what do we all need? We need more time. We need time not to have to go to the doctor, not to have to do some of our other life tasks. So I worked with a company in Miami called Yellow Pepper. One of the things that they were most proud of is they had on laundry service. Employees bring their laundry Monday. The company pays for a local laundry service to take care of it, and it's back by Wednesday and ready for the employee to go. They didn't have to spend the time doing that. But you might look at more relevant. So here in our area, potentially car detailing, and we all need it come the spring after all the salt and everything is on the road. You can talk to a car detailing company and say, look, I'd like you to come to my facility. I have this many people. If you give us a 25% discount, they're saving, they may lose a little money in the fact that they give a discount, but they're saving it on gas, on equipment, on people. They're not traveling from a job to job to job. So they will be eventually making more money that way. depending on your connections here, if we have finance companies, small business CPAs or investment advisors, you may, negotiate with each other and offer tax prep or investment services, just all by sharing what you all do together as part of this Innovate Springfield group, and learning how you can rely on each other in order to find some of these different benefits at a reduced savings. Because again, we get the trade-off. You get a guaranteed stream of extra income from new clients and whatnot, but we can give a little bit of a discount to beat out, instead of $200 that H&R Block will cost you to do your taxes, saying, hey, we'll do it, cap it at $150 for anybody who comes through from your company. So benefits that help with time. And as we've seen in the last few years, benefits that help with relaxation and mental health. So one of the things that my previous workplace did is part of our health fairs, we had on-site massage. It was only 10 minutes, but you felt wonderful afterwards. So it was really nice. It put you in a better mood for the day. It helped you relax. It was something you looked forward to. And the organization showed that you cared. You may look at other partner discounts. So local businesses, small spas, so on and so forth. See if you can get discounts for your employees who want a mental health spa day, and then allow them the time off. Give that as part of your benefits. Not only do you get sick leave, you can have 4 mental health days a year. Because every now and then we need to go, oh, okay, just need a break. And then finally, if your employees like the same thing, so if you're a group and say you're a golf business and everybody likes golf, then have a day out once a month when the weather's nice, where you guys go out and play golf together, or tennis, or whatever all the employees do. But this is only if you have a group that shares interests. It's no fun forcing somebody who doesn't want to do this. Yes. So that's why it's last on the list. It's only if all your people like it or it fits within your business. So that way we start finding benefits that employees want, and that way we can remove benefits that aren't used or maybe too costly for our organization at this time. So I was a Girl Scout, and we had part of the Girl Scout law that you would say to use resources wisely. And so this is my advice for how you can use your community resources in a way that you may not have been before to help you reduce your cost in terms of HR. So one is to partner with colleges and universities. You can contact me. You can reach out to other faculty at other universities if you're not local to the Springfield area. But we love to have our students do real world projects for actual organizations. And companies love it too, because then you get people who have actually done things. That's how I got my job 15 plus years ago at Lockheed Martin. I had done a staffing plan for an actual organization that has become the biggest physical and sports-based textbook manufacturing company. They're outside of Champaign now, but they've become the biggest one in the market since then. You can also find interns and other full-time employment for temporary purposes through colleges and universities. And you may be able to get a little bit better rate than you would with staffing companies. You can utilize your peer organizations here from Innovate Springfield. So as we talked about with different consortia, different partnerships in terms of sharing benefit costs, arranging discounts, reach out to your different members and say, I'm looking for this. Can anybody help me? And don't be afraid to ask. Look into special interest groups. You can find some wonderful employees in markets that you may not be looking at, for those who may have some forms of disabilities that are looking for part-term employment or contract employment, something like that. And because they have issues with either transportation or with some of their other skills, or just with the potential, if they worked full-time, they'd make too much money and lose their government health insurance or something like that. So if you work with special interest groups that are out there in the community that can help you be in touch with these different populations that may serve your needs in a more cost-effective manner than full-time employees would, if you're not necessarily ready or able to pay full-time. And then you can look into cheap access for services and functions depending upon your size. So if you're a smaller company, you can get HRIS software that's either free or low cost based upon the number of employees that you have. So you don't have to buy the really expensive packages from companies like SAP and IBM, because that just doesn't fit your needs right now. There also have been startups with HR services for hire, so you don't necessarily need an HR personnel. Kelly Guest, the member here of Innovate Springfield, is one such great resource that you can reach out and talk to her about projects. But there are also other ones that I've seen online, like HRB or things like that. But I'll go to Kelly first. I like real people.
Definitely.
So before we go, we just want to go over some of our cautions in innovating. Some of these can be really exciting and you want to do a lot. Don't get convoluted. Start small, take little steps. Evaluate with what you're doing. As you make a change, evaluate it. If you are using external agencies, make sure you're being secure with your data. You can get in trouble, have various fines and things if employee personnel data gets leaked or customer data. Either way through the system, either way can be violated depending on the access to the systems that you may be giving external companies. So always make sure you ask, what are they doing to protect your data while they work with it? Don't mess with people's base pay. Nobody likes their pay messed with where it may go down. So if we're going to make changes, limit it to bonuses, benefits, rewards, things that employees are a little more receptive to changing, and make sure you communicate clearly what you're changing and what they're gaining from these changes. Always ensure that ethical behavior, whatever that is for your employees and their jobs in that organization, is tied into any requirements for bonuses and rewards. We have too many organizations that don't think through that step of ethics, and we get issues like the Wells Fargo 2008 and 2009 scandals, some of the other mortgage scandals that happened in 2007 and 2008. So it's really important that when we reward and pay bonuses, we reward for exactly what we want them to do in terms of productivity and ethics, because if we don't, they won't do it. Well, thank you, everyone. If we have any questions, please feel free. If you have any further needs or think of anything in the future, you can always email me at smaynard2@uis.edu. Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for being here, Stephanie. I think this was a really informative program. One of my questions is if there's any just data available online that kind of lays out the cost benefit analysis of some of these innovations, just as far as like, making your employees healthy, pay over time, how it.
There actually is if you reach out to your insurance broker, they will, or insurance rep, they will actually have that information and data to show you. But since it varies kind of by geographic area, it's better to reach out to whoever locally than me giving you, because I have data from Miami that shows, okay, an organization that started these health checks and started having a farmer's market delivery service. And so employees were eating healthier and being checked and monitored more often. And so then that reduced their insurance cost by $7,500 the first year. And they were in the middle of the second year when I was working with Saposnik Insurance there in Florida. So here it's better that you reach to your local brokers because cost varies by area and so on and so forth. So, but there is some data out there that can, definitely your insurance company has it.
Okay. That would just be really good for, like middle management making these proposals to CEOs and, higher level management for these kinds of, incentives in the workplace.
Definitely.
Programs.
Yeah. And definitely the companies, these brokers, different firms will work with you and help you provide that information. Like I said, it's just better to have the local market knowledge versus saying, well, it did this much there, it'll do the same here. Maybe it will do more, maybe it will do a little less.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks at learning from you and your data. This way. Oh, come on. Come on.